Josh Allen just did something that most quarterbacks would never do. 1 year after signing a $330 million deal, he walked back into the building and gave the Bills $12 million back. Not because he had to, because he chose to. Buffalo was drowning in cap debt, and their franchise quarterback just threw them a lifeline. But here is the part nobody is talking about yet. Let's go back to just 1 week before this happened. The Buffalo Bills were sitting $32 million over the salary cap. $32 million. That is not a small problem. That is a roster-destroying, off-season killing crisis. General manager Brandon Beane had already started making ugly decisions. Veterans were released. Star cornerback Taron Johnson was shipped to the Las Vegas Raiders. By the time Wednesday rolled around, the Bills had clawed their way back to just $4 million over the limit. But $4 million over is still over. The league year was opening that same day, and Buffalo could not sign anyone. That is when Allen made his move. He agreed to convert $15.2 million of his 2026 base salary into a signing bonus. That one accounting change dropped his cap hit from $56.39 million all the way down to $44.2 million. $12 million in cap space created instantly. The Bills went from being frozen out of free agency to having real money to spend, all in the same morning. Now here is something people keep missing about this deal. This is not the first time Allen has done this. The Bills have converted part of his salary into a prorated bonus in 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, and now 2026. 6 straight years, every single offseason. Allen has become the most reliable cap tool the organization has. But there is a price for that loyalty, and it is a number that should make every Bills fan nervous. Allen's dead cap number right now sits at more than $173 million. If Buffalo ever tried to trade him, that number only drops to $138 million. The Bills are locked in with this man, which is exactly why they need every restructured account. That is not a small detail. That is the entire foundation of how this franchise operates. Every dollar of cap space the Bills unlock through these conversions comes with a long-term obligation attached. The money does not disappear. It shifts forward. It stacks up quietly in the background while the front office keeps spending in the present. At some point, the bill comes due. But right now, in this window, with Allen still playing at an MVP level and a new coaching staff trying to build something real, the Bills are making a calculated bet. They are betting that winning now is worth the weight they are carrying later. And based on everything Allen has given this organization, that bet is hard to argue against. So where is the $12 million actually going? The first move was already in motion before the restructure even finished processing. Buffalo had already agreed to trade for wide receiver DJ Moore from the Chicago Bears. That trade could not officially go through until the Bills were cap compliant. Allen's restructure made it happen. Moore is a legitimate number 1 receiver, the kind of deep threat Allen has needed for years. Now here is the part that makes this even more interesting. Moore's contract can also be restructured, and if the Bills do that, they unlock another $17.7 million in cap space. That would give Buffalo roughly $30 million total in new spending power this offseason, all built off the foundation of what Allen agreed to on Wednesday morning. But Moore is just the start. Remember that $12 million from Allen's restructure? Part of it also went toward keeping center Connor McGovern in Buffalo. McGovern was fully expecting to test free agency. He had every right to. Instead, a deal got done, and McGovern later revealed that Allen was working behind the scenes to make it happen. The franchise quarterback was actively recruiting his own offensive linemen to stay. Allen is not just the player on this team. He is the engine that runs the entire operation. Tight end Dawson Knox also agreed to a new 3-year contract in the same window. The Bills moved fast. They had the space, and they used it immediately. Now let's talk about who else Buffalo is chasing. Here is the expanded version with 300 additional words woven in naturally. But the biggest splash wasn't a trade, it was a homecoming. Buffalo used that newly minted cap space to sign 2-time Pro Bowler Bradley Chubb to a 3-year, $43.5 million deal. Chubb, who spent 2025 with the Dolphins, became available after Miami's roster purge. For the Bills, it's the perfect all-in move. They didn't have to give up draft picks for Max Crosby, they just used the cash Allen provided to land a proven game changer. Think about what a Crosby addition would mean for Jim Leonhard's new defense, because this team is not just reloading the offense. The entire defensive side of the ball is being rebuilt from scratch. New head coach Joe Brady took over after owner Terry Pegula fired Sean McDermott in January, ending a 9-season run. McDermott built the defensive identity of this franchise. Now that identity is gone, and Leonhard is walking in with a mandate to create something completely new. He needs playmakers. He needs edge pressure. He needs bodies. The $12 million from Allen's restructure is the first real tool Leonhard has to work with. Chubb's arrival is a massive win for Jim Leonhard's new 3-4 defensive scheme. Remember, Leonhard spent the last 2 years in Denver with Vance Joseph, the same system where Chubb originally thrived. It's a match made in heaven. Leonhard gets a cornerstone player who already knows the playbook, and Chubb gets to play for a contender. This isn't just a talent upgrade. It's a schematic anchor for a defense that is being completely redefined under Joe Brady. That is the kind of impact that does not show up in a stat sheet, but shows up every single Sunday. The fit makes sense beyond the name, too. Leonhard runs an aggressive, pressure-heavy scheme. He wants edge rushers who can win one-on-one. Crosby does exactly that. He does not need a perfect situation around him. He creates pressure out of nothing. He draws double teams. He frees up everyone else. For a defense being built from the ground up, adding a player like Crosby at the right restructured number would be the single biggest move Buffalo could make this offseason. Not just good, transformational. And this is where everything circles back to Josh Allen, because none of this exists without him making that decision. Not the flexibility, not the signings, not the belief inside that building that this window is still wide open. When your quarterback is willing to sacrifice his own money to keep the roster competitive, it changes the tone of the entire franchise. It tells every player in that locker room exactly what the standard is. Now, the pressure shifts, because when you push money into the future, you are not just buying talent. You are buying time. And time in the NFL is the most expensive thing there is. The Bills are not building for 3 years from now. They're building for right now. This season. This run. And that means there are no excuses left. The roster is being rebuilt. The defense is being reshaped. The weapons are finally being upgraded. Everything is lining up around a quarterback who has already proven he can carry the weight. So the real question is not what Josh Allen gave up. The real question is what Buffalo is going to do with what he just gave them.